Please watch to the end. Comment and respond to other people's comments.
Parking lot in the Inland Empire, a case of apparent road rage came to a very deadly end. The victim, a grandfather. KCAL's Nicole Comstock spoke to his broken son.
Well, the victim's son tells us his father was a family man who cared very deeply for his children and his grandchildren. He says he was a very big part of this community for a long time, and so this was just an incredibly cruel way for them all to lose him. Police officers taped off a section of this Walmart parking lot near the border of Highland and San Bernardino after a 57-year-old grandfather was shot to death. The victim's son says it's unbelievable, but this was all over a minor fender bender.
There's no actual body damage, there's a scratch in the paint. That's the extent of the damage that he lost his life over.
Matthew says his father, Jonathan Mauk, was driving through the parking lot in his black Camaro when he accidentally bumped into another car that was backing up.
The witnesses said that he got out and started apologizing, said he was responsible. The person in the other vehicle pulled a gun and shot my father in the face.
He says the woman who shot him drove away, and detectives have since told him that she was arrested the following day and charged with murder.
He's the most incredible person I've ever met. I mean, my career in life, my love for cars, it's all reflections of him. It's all things we've done together.
Jonathan Mauk was a father of 3 and grandfather of 2. His son describes him as an old school car guy who worked on engines with them all their lives. They say he had a heart to help others, even strangers who were broken down on the side of the road. Now they're raising money online for his burial expenses as they try to process his senseless killing.
We've had an overwhelming amount of support from the community, which I can't say how much that means to us.
They say Mauk only came here that night to buy salt and Pepsi and wanted nothing more than to go back home to his family.
There needs to be justice. They need to make sure that she pays for what she's done.
And we're still waiting to hear back from the San Bernardino Police Department to confirm the suspect's identity, but it does appear that that person has entered a not guilty plea and is scheduled to appear in court again later this week. Reporting in Highland, I'm Nicole Comstock, KCAL News.
This news reporter Leticia Juarez has more on the altercation, which reportedly happened after a minor traffic collision.
He's been a solid foundation for all of us. The loss is immeasurable.
That foundation has been shaken after 59-year-old Jonathan Mauk was shot and killed in this Highland Walmart parking lot last Monday. Matthew Mauk says his father was on his way to the store to grab bottles of Pepsi and salt to make his homemade beef jerky.
I can't even put into words why that happened or what would go through a person's mind to make that seem like an acceptable action. None of it makes sense.
Senseless because, according to investigators, Mauk was backing up his Camaro when he collided with the suspect's vehicle.
From what witnesses and everybody told me, my dad felt responsible. He was the one to blame, so he got out of the car to apologize, and that's when the other person shot him.
The suspect has been identified as 37-year-old Shawntece Marie Norton, who allegedly drove away from the scene but was arrested the next day. It's also the day that Mauk was able to pick up his dad's car and inspect the damage.
There's a scratch on the fender. There's not a dent. There's no real damage. There's a scratch. That is the extent of the collision that he lost his life over.
Mauk was a father of 3 sons, a family man, a friend who could be counted on to lend a hand, and a classic car enthusiast. But it was another title that brought him the most joy.
He liked being called Grandpa. He said it made him feel old, but he loved the title.
A GoFundMe account has been set up as calls from friends and strangers poured in, offering the family help laying him to rest. Meanwhile, Mauk says he and his family want justice.
We'll be there for every single court hearing. Anything that has to do with this incident, we're going to be there. We're going to be vocal. We're going to talk about it.
Norton has pled not guilty to murder charges. She's due back in court on February 15th.
A fender bender in a Highland Walmart parking lot turns deadly when one driver shoots and kills the other. Good evening. This is the KTLA 5 News at 5:30. I'm Cher Calvin.
And hi there. I'm Courtney Farrell in tonight for Micah. The deadly encounter happened after the victim accidentally backed into the suspect's car.
KTLA's Inland Empire reporter Shelby Nelson spoke to the victim's son and joins us now in San Bernardino with more. Shelby?
Sharon Court, this truly is heartbreaking. It was supposed to be just a simple trip to Walmart for John Mauk, but instead he was involved in a fender bender that led to him and his life being taken way too soon. Now, we talked to his son earlier, who says this should have never happened over something so minuscule. He wasn't big on taking pictures. What he did love was his family, cars, and his boat. That's what you'll see in the few pictures of 59-year-old Jonathan Mauk.
I got pictures of him falling asleep with his granddaughter there watching TV together and feeding her when she was an infant. He loved his granddaughter. He's so happy.
They'll serve as memories for Matthew Mauk and his two brothers after their father was tragically killed in this Highland Walmart parking lot on Highland Avenue last Monday. John had come here to get some ingredients to make jerky. San Bernardino police say at around 8 p.m. he was driving down a lane while the suspect was backing out of her parking spot.
For whatever reason, the victim stopped and slowly backed his vehicle up, and that's when he had a collision with the suspect's vehicle.
Police say the impact was minor, resulting in a scratch or two. John then got out of his car to apologize. That's when they say 36-year-old Shawntece Norton got out of her car and allegedly shot him in the face before driving off.
I cried when I found out he got killed. That's what he loved, cars. He probably would have fixed the lady car for nothing. But she ended up shooting him.
Those who worked with John at Carey's Fine Automobiles in San Bernardino are just as devastated as his sons are.
I couldn't imagine anybody getting that upset over something so small, so insignificant. It's so painful. I wouldn't want anybody to go through this.
Grieving the death of someone they cherished dearly, someone they looked up to.
I want the community to understand the type of loss that is suffered, not only by his family, but by all of us. You know, if you're broke down in front of an auto parts store and he happened to be there, he's the kind of guy that would offer to help.
Through witness statements, police located the suspect 12 hours later. They arrested Norton, who has been charged with murder.
I want to see justice served. You know, there should be no leniency. This type of thing should not be tolerated. This community is already broken enough over the years of all the issues that we do have.